You don't need motivation, you need discipline, you need pain. You need to wake up tired and still trained. Because the world doesn't care about your excuses. It only respects results. You don't need a hug. You don't need a break. What you need is to wake up from the pathetic delusion you're living in. You've convinced yourself that you're trying, that you're doing your best, that maybe success just takes time. No, that's the biggest lie you're telling yourself. You're not doing everything you could be doing. You're not close, and deep down you know it. You're not operating at 100%. You're not even close to 60%. You're dragging through life with this comfortable little routine, hiding behind words like mental health and overwhelm and I just need to figure things out. No, what you need is to admit that you're being weak and stop pretending it's okay to be average. I'm not saying this because I hate you. I'm saying this because I know what you're capable of. You think you're depressed? You think you're stuck? Try working 16 hours a day on a business no one believes in, training until your hands bleed, and still showing up like you're going to conquer the world. That's what I did. That's what real men do. We don't sit around hoping for a miracle. We create our own damn miracle, and we do it through pain, through silence, through grind, through discipline. Motivation is useless. It fades, it dies in the face of difficulty. But discipline, that's the weapon. That's the edge. That's what makes the difference between the man who builds an empire and the one who scrolls Instagram all day hoping life gets easier. Let me tell you something no one has the balls to say anymore. Life is war. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you're willing to bleed for. And most of you haven't suffered enough to earn anything real. You say you want to win, but your actions prove otherwise. You sleep in, you skip the workout, you don't take risks. You talk more than you act, you fantasize more than you execute, and then you wonder why you're still stuck. You've never gone to bed so exhausted you couldn't move. You've never looked in the mirror and asked, did I give it absolutely everything today? Because if you had, you'd already be winning. But here's the truth, and you need to hear it. It's not too late. I don't care how broken you feel. I don't care how behind you think you are. You still have breath in your lungs. And that means you have time to turn it all around. You have time to become dangerous, to become respected, to become a man of value. But that time is running out. Every hour you waste is one you'll never get back. There's no pause button. This is your one shot, your one life. And it's slipping through your fingers while you distract yourself with garbage. The moment you accept that no one is coming to save you is the moment your life begins. No one owes you anything, not your parents, not society, not the government, no one. If you want to rise, you rise through force, through work, through blood. And once you get that into your skull, once you stop crying and start building, you become unstoppable. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being the smartest. It's about being the most relentless. The one who never backs down, the one who gets up again and again, no matter how many times life smashes him in the face. And don't get me wrong, it will smash you. Life will test you. It will beat you to your knees and laugh while you bleed. That's reality. But it's in those moments when you've got nothing left that the real man is born. Not in the easy times, not when things are going well, but in the pain, in the failure, in the silence. When no one claps for you. That's where greatness is forged. So if you're suffering right now, good. That means you're in the fire. That means you're being molded into something stronger, something ruthless, something unstoppable. So let this be the last day you lie to yourself. No more excuses, no more blame, no more waiting for the right time. The right time is now. This is your life and you need to take control of it. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now. Become the man you were meant to be. Build the discipline, forge the mindset, master the body, dominate the world. Because if you don't, someone else will. And when they do, and they take everything that could have been yours, don't cry, don't complain. Just know that you chose comfort over greatness. You chose soft over strong. You chose easy over legacy. But if you're ready to fight, really fight, then good. Welcome to the war. Now get to work. People see me now and they think this life was handed to me. Fast cars, tailored suits, private jets, cash stacked higher than your hopes. They look at all of it and assume I was born lucky, that somehow I just stumbled into power. They don't see the years of suffering, The nights I went to bed starving. The days I worked with nothing in my pocket but belief. What they see is the result. What they ignore is the war it took to get here. I had no map, no rich daddy, no team holding my hand. I built everything from scratch, just a raw will to win and a refusal to quit. You think you're struggling? Good. That means you're on the path. But let me be very clear. Your struggle only becomes valuable when you decide you're done being weak. When I was broke, I didn't waste time crying. I didn't go online looking for sympathy. I was angry. I was disgusted with the man I saw in the mirror. I told myself, this isn't who you are. This isn't your destiny. And instead of asking the world to give me a break, I broke the world. Every single morning, I woke up before the sun, trained like a machine, studied like a madman, and worked until my body screamed. There were no days off, no weekends, no comfort. Every second of the day was spent building, even when it felt hopeless, even when no one believed. That's when you need to push the hardest. When the world doubts you, when your own mind tells you to quit, that's when you go all in. There was a time I couldn't afford food. I was fighting for scraps in some dirty gym just to stay sharp. My bank account looked like a joke. Friends disappeared, no one answered my calls, and every time I walked into a room, people looked at me like I was invisible. That pain, that disrespect, that silence, it lit a fire in me. I told myself, they don't see you now, but they will. They'll regret overlooking you. And I used that darkness. I used that hunger. I weaponized it. I let it mold me into someone unrecognizable, someone relentless, someone that would make them remember, not out of bitterness, but out of certainty. I knew I was born for more, and I was ready to kill for it. You see, success isn't born in comfort. It's born in silence, in solitude, in those quiet moments where no one is watching, no one is clapping, and you still choose to rise. That's where power is built. I was in a freezing apartment, punching the walls, hungry and tired, trying to figure out how to climb out of the hole I was in. But instead of quitting, I doubled down. I created plans. I studied money. I sacrificed sleep. I broke my body in training, and slowly, piece by piece, it started to click. I turned pain into fuel. I turned failure into strategy. I turned rejection into discipline. It's not magic. It's not motivation. It's a decision. A decision to become so strong that nothing, not failure, not fear, not loneliness, can stop you. Let me tell you something personal. The day I bought my first luxury car, I didn't feel happiness. I felt validation. Not from others, for myself. Because that moment represented everything I fought for. It wasn't about the car, it was about what it symbolized. It meant every night I stayed up working instead of sleeping paid off. It meant all the times I walked alone while others laughed behind my back were worth it. It meant I was right, that my pain had purpose. And in that moment I realized the real reward wasn't the car, it was who I had become in the process. A man who couldn't be broken. A man who refused to kneel to circumstance. That's what you need to understand. The world isn't fair. No one's coming to hand you success, but that's good news because it means you don't need permission to rise. You can decide right now to do what it takes. You can choose to wake up earlier, train harder, learn faster. You can choose to be obsessed with progress. And yeah, you'll lose sleep, you'll lose friends, you'll get hated, mocked, ignored, but in the end, none of that will matter. Because when you're driving the life you built, when you look around and realize you're free, financially, mentally, physically, you understand it was all worth it. Every scar, every failure, every lonely night, they built you, they tested you, and you passed. I didn't make it here by accident. I earned it. I carved it from stone with bloody hands. And if you're willing to do the same, not just dream, not just talk, but actually suffer and work, then you can have it too. There's nothing special about me. Just discipline, just clarity, just obsession. And guess what? You can build those. You can train those. So stop crying. Stop waiting. Your story is already being written. The only question is, will it be one of regret or domination? You don't realize how close you are to dying average. That's the scariest part. You walk through life like there's time, like you can delay greatness, like the world's gonna pause and wait for you to figure things out. It won't. Life doesn't care if you're confused, tired, anxious, or broke. It keeps moving. And if you don't catch up, it will leave you in the dust, buried beneath your own excuses. One day you're gonna wake up and there won't be any more chances. Your youth will be gone, your options will vanish, and all you'll have left is a mountain of what ifs. The man who never backs down. At some point, the talking has to stop. You've read the quotes, watched the videos, listened to the podcasts. You've filled your head with enough ideas to conquer the world, but none of that means anything until you decide to act. Not later, not next week, right now. Because the brutal truth is this: you're running out of time. The version of you that could have been great is dying every second you sit in hesitation. Every excuse, every delay, every moment you spend scrolling instead of executing is a nail in the coffin of your potential. And if that doesn't light a fire in your chest, you're already lost. The man you're supposed to become is out there, waiting for you to step up, to stop being comfortable, to finally get ruthless about your mission. Because if you don't, no one will hand it to you. No one's going to rescue you from average. You must drag yourself out with blood in your teeth and obsession in your soul. There's no secret formula, no shortcut, no guru is coming to unlock your life for you. It's always been on you. Your decisions, your habits, your intensity. You keep thinking you need more information, but what you really need is confrontation. A confrontation with the weak version of yourself, the one who's always tired, always doubting, always making excuses. That coward inside you must die. That version of you that's satisfied with maybe tomorrow. He has to be destroyed, because he's the only thing standing between you and the life you want. I don't care where you came from, how hard your past was, or what people told you. I've seen men rise from nothing because they refused to quit. I've seen killers built from scratch because they decided to outwork everyone. They didn't wait for belief. They built belief through action. And if you're not doing that, you're just a spectator. Just another soft voice in a loud world. And nobody remembers the soft. You need to stop negotiating with your mind. Stop asking yourself how you feel. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. If you only act when it's easy, you'll never win. You'll always be a slave to your emotions. A man controlled by comfort. You want power? Earn it. Earn it through pain. Earn it through silence. Earn it through a war against mediocrity every single day. Because no one cares how smart you are. No one cares how many dreams you have if you don't build. The only thing that matters is what you do when it's hard. That's the metric. That's what defines real men. Not how loud they talk, but how much they endure in silence. That's the war you're in. And if you don't rise to it, life will crush you into dust and move on without a second thought. And don't think for a second that you can fake it. You might fool your friends. You might fool your parents, but you can't fool the man in the mirror. He knows. He knows when you're lying to yourself. When you say you're trying, but deep down, you know you're giving 40%. That's the truth that burns. And until you face it, you'll never be free. You'll be a prisoner to your own deception. But if you face that darkness, if you look it dead in the eyes and say, I've had enough, everything changes. You stop being a victim. You stop needing external validation. You start becoming something dangerous, something focused, something unshakable. And when that shift happens, the world bends. It moves for you because it always makes space for the man who refuses to be denied. So here's what you do right now. You make a decision, not a wish, not a fantasy, a ruthless, deliberate decision to go all in, to stop compromising, to stop shrinking yourself, to stop apologizing for your ambition. If you want to win, it has to become who you are. You can't dabble in greatness. You have to become obsessed with it. You have to wake up with fire in your veins and fall asleep knowing you gave everything. You have to become the man who says no to weakness, no to laziness, no to the soft life. And not just once, every single day until it's not a choice anymore, it's just who you are. Because once that level of commitment takes over, you become unstoppable. You become the kind of man who doesn't chase, he attracts. Who doesn't beg, he builds. Who doesn't wait. This is it, your turning point, your line in the sand. No more talking, no more dreaming. It's time to turn rage into action, to weaponize your pain, to let every moment of doubt become the fuel that drives your rebirth. You want freedom, earn it. You want power, build it. You want to become a man of respect, of legacy, of absolute control, then move now. Because this life doesn't wait for the hesitant. It rewards the man who charges forward, head first, with scars, with fury, with unstoppable conviction. That man, that's who you become. Starting now. And an unshakable sense that you could have been something more. That's the death most men suffer, not in body, but in soul. Death by delay. Death by comfort. Death by playing it safe. Every single day you waste is one you'll never get back. That should terrify you. Because you're not stuck, you're choosing to stay behind. And deep down you know it. You know you could work harder. You know you could discipline yourself. But instead you lie to yourself, numbing the voice inside that's begging you to change. You drown it with distractions, with comfort, with fake dopamine. And in doing so, you betray your potential. That voice you silence, that's your future. That's the man you're supposed to become, but you keep killing him. One wasted hour at a time. You think there's no consequence for inaction, but there is. It's slow, it's silent, and it eats your spirit alive. Look around. Most people are spectators in their own lives, consuming instead of creating, reacting instead of building. They've accepted mediocrity as destiny. They celebrate weekends and dread Mondays because they built lives they secretly hate. Is that what you want? To exist instead of dominate, to follow instead of lead. Because here's the brutal truth. If you're not obsessed with evolving, there is no neutral. Time doesn't freeze. It either strengthens you or exposes your weakness. And the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Not because life becomes tougher, but because your habits get lazier, your standards drop lower, and your spirit becomes quieter. That's the real trap. You don't just stay in place. You slide backwards, thinking you're standing still. You want motivation? Here it is. Imagine being 60 years old, looking back at your life and realizing you settled. You never took the risks. You never pushed beyond fear. You never became the man you dreamed of being as a boy. You played small, kept your head down, did everything safe, and it got you nowhere. That version of you will hate you. He'll scream at the wasted years, the cowardice, the hesitation. He'll relive every missed opportunity in his mind like a looped nightmare. And the worst part, there will be no way to fix it. Time will have closed its doors. That should put chills down your spine, because that future's real. It's waiting for you, unless you do something now. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards proof. It doesn't care how smart you are, how creative you feel, or how much you could do. It only respects action, results, victory. That's the game, and right now you're either winning or watching. There is no in between. Every second you're not working toward domination, someone else is. And when you finally wake up, you'll realize they've built the empire you were too soft to fight for. That's why I never relax. That's why I treat every day like it's life or death, because in a way it is. Every day you're weak, your future dies a little more. You want the truth? You're afraid. Not of failure, but of the responsibility success demands. You fear the weight, the discipline, the sacrifice. So instead you run, you scroll, you escape into fantasy. But let me tell you something, fear doesn't go away. It grows. It feeds on hesitation. And eventually it becomes your master. But if you face it, if you attack it with aggression, you kill it. Not all at once, but piece by piece. That's what courage is. It's not the absence of fear. It's moving forward while terrified. That's what makes you powerful. Not pretending you're fearless, but acting despite the fear. Most men will never know what they're capable of because they never even try. They die with their talents untouched, their strength untested, their voice unheard. That's the real loss. Not failure, but unrealized greatness. And you're dangerously close to becoming one of them. Unless you snap out of this coma and go all in. No more waiting, no more tomorrow. No more soft excuses. You either burn for your dream or get buried by your comfort. Because life isn't a joke, it's war. Every day you're in a battle against laziness, distraction, weakness. And if you don't fight back, you lose. And losers don't get sympathy, they get forgotten. So make a choice right now. Either you rise like a beast and claim the life you were meant for, or you stay soft and suffer in silence, watching others live the life you dreamed about. The problem with most of you is simple. You don't really want it. You say you do, you talk about success, you like motivational quotes, you daydream about cars and money and freedom, but when it's time to execute, you hesitate, you delay, you find comfort and distraction, and then you wonder why nothing in your life changes, because deep inside, you still haven't decided to become dangerous. You haven't drawn that line in the sand and said, enough, I will become unstoppable. And until that switch flips, you'll keep floating, aimless, reactive, soft. Life doesn't reward the almost motivated. It rewards the obsessed. The men who grind when nobody watches. The men who build while everyone else sleeps. The men who aren't just dreaming about it, they're dying for it. People love to say, you're lucky. No, I was strategic. I was relentless. I worked when everyone else was waiting. I didn't care how I felt. I didn't need motivation. I needed the result. And that's the mindset you need, the kind that doesn't beg for energy, but generates it. The kind that doesn't seek approval, but imposes dominance. You want greatness? You want freedom? Then understand this. Your current life is a reflection of the standards you've accepted. You tolerate laziness, you get mediocrity. You accept excuses, you earn regret. The world doesn't give you what you fantasize about. It gives you what you're willing to bleed for. And most of you haven't bled yet. You keep waiting for permission, waiting for someone to validate you, but nobody's coming. No one's going to hand you the perfect moment. The clock's ticking, and it's not waiting for you to build confidence. You think you need more time, but what you actually need is urgency. You need to realize that every second you waste is another second someone else is grinding. You're not in competition with your friends. You're in competition with the best men on the planet. The ones who train harder, think sharper, execute faster. They're not asking questions. They're taking action. That's why they win. That's why they dominate. Because they've decided that failure isn't an option, it's fuel. And don't confuse activity with progress. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're building. Most people spin in circles pretending they're working when they're just avoiding discomfort. Success requires intentional pain, controlled suffering, the kind that forges strength, that builds iron in your spine. I didn't get here because I was comfortable. I got here because I chased what made me uncomfortable. I trained when I was tired. I studied when I was bored. I moved forward even when I was doubted, mocked, hated. I became immune to the noise. That's the level of detachment you need, where your hunger silences the opinions of the weak, where your vision drowns out every distraction. I don't have time for self-pity, and neither do you. The world doesn't care about your sadness. It doesn't care that you're tired, broke, confused, or alone. You think the universe is going to pause because you had a bad day? No, it will keep going. It will keep testing you. And if you don't fight back, it will bury you. But if you rise, if you choose to battle through the chaos, you become something rare, something feared, something respected, because men like that are extinct. We live in a generation of comfort addicts, soft minds, fragile emotions. You're surrounded by weakness, so if you decide to become strong, you stand out. Instantly, you become valuable, you become undeniable. And that's the first step toward power. Do you know how powerful you become when discipline becomes your identity? When you no longer have to convince yourself to work because it's just who you are? That's when things change. That's when your life bends in your direction. Success is never an accident. It's built by men who made war with their laziness. Men who didn't care if they were scared or uncertain. They just moved. And eventually that momentum became a weapon. That's what you need to build so much momentum, so much fire that nothing can stop you. Not failure, not betrayal, not fatigue, just pure forward motion until the universe is forced to make room for your success. This is your shot right here, right now. This isn't just another motivational moment. This is a mirror, a call, a challenge. You either accept it, rise to it, and change everything, or you let it pass and stay exactly where you are. Understand this. You were born with power, with intensity, with the capacity to become unbreakable. But that version of you isn't going to show up through luck or laziness. You must summon him, build him, mold him through discomfort, repetition, and sacrifice. Because that's how real men are made, through pressure, through fire. And once you walk through that fire, once you've conquered the weak version of yourself, you'll never fear anything again. You'll become the man who leads, the man who wins,